And of course, my belief is that each person should seek out from the information around them those concepts, those ideals, morals, and values that suit them. You're an individual, and you have to develop your own philosophy of life from within the context of living life. And using that philosophy and that morality, you will develop within yourself a powerhouse of strength because it'll be yours. You won't be living a second-hand philosophy or a handed-down philosophy from somebody else. You'll be creating a philosophy that's strong and powerful, a philosophy that nurtures you, a philosophy that is designed with you at the center, with you at heart. As you begin to concentrate upon yourself and as you begin to see your life in dedication, then of course energy grows, and it grows very, very quickly. You'll have the impression that things are only moving along slowly, and sometimes perhaps you may even find yourself being a little bit impatient with yourself, striving and yearning for more, and yet somehow not necessarily seeing all the results that you want all at once. However, you have to remember that the inner power that you have is a hidden energy. It does not manifest itself necessarily in events around you. However, as that power exudes, it is like a light that goes out, and bit by bit everything begins to shine more brightly. At first, the change isn't really noticeable because the power that you've exuded over your affairs and your life, the energy that you've placed into your home and your job and the people that you love and the people that surround you, it has a pattern. For that pattern to change, it takes time. It takes time for the light to go inside that pattern of your life, to enliven it. And usually you'll find that it'll take a number of months before the changes begin to occur, and then it'll take a number of years before all of those changes in your life are consolidated. You have a heritage or a goal in your life to become free, to become an absolutely powerful individual that is not dependent upon the rest of the world, that is not emotionally sucked into the world. You have a heritage to get to that peak. Most people never make it. And the reason they don't make it is because they are reluctant to move away from the old lifestyles. It's almost as if they live in a prison. The gate is always open. There are no guards, and yet somehow they've got so friendly with the prisoners and the regimen of living in this prison that they can't walk out of the gate. We're living in a world today where there is a very, very desperate need for enlightened beings. People that have a higher consciousness, people that can expound a new philosophy, a new light. You heard in the book me talking about the Golden Age, and that has been an archetypal symbol in the mind of man since the beginning of time. It's a belief that at some point, eventually, man will transcend his inadequacies, and we will reach a world of absolute peace, absolute power, a world where all the people are nurtured, a world without prejudice, without evil, without restriction. But as a metaphysician and as an evolving person, you have to understand that 1,000 years in the history of our planet is just a bat of the cosmic eyelid. It isn't any time at all. And so often as you look at, let's say, for example, the peace movements in the world, the hunger movements, the movements for social justice, the movements for full employment or whatever, you can see how everybody is yearning and rushing and pushing and trying to make it happen overnight. If you put that same kind of negative yearning into whatever cause you feel strongly about, what you're basically saying is the world is not okay. For you to have a transcendent lifestyle, a lifestyle of true power, where everything flows to you naturally, you have to see the world as beautiful. Inside the mayhem, there is all sorts of growth experiences. Inside the difficulty, the famine, the wars, there is man struggling through his inadequacies to discover himself. When you can understand that and detach a little bit, you can allow this whole process to take time. Can you imagine if the God Force wanted to change the world? Do you think it would be a problem? Do you think it'd be a problem to infuse the minds of man with a peaceful energy so everybody became peaceful, or to infuse in the minds of man a greater sense of sharing so that all the people of the planet would have enough abundance? I'm sure that the God Force could do that if it wished, and yet it cannot infringe upon us any more than we should not infringe upon the people around us. It has to allow everybody to come up gradually and to understand those perceptions gradually. As you become more powerful and a stronger person, people are going to come around you. Your family members are going to want to know, hey, how come you're living a little bit of a different lifestyle? Or how come you've changed? Or how come you're looking smarter and your clothes look better and you're more groomed and it seems like you have more money and more travel and more fluidity? And they're going to come to you. When they come to you, you can act as a teacher. You can inspire. You can show them the positivity and the strength that is there in life. However, what happens to some people is they gain a modicum of power and then they want to go out and change the world. When you want to go out and change the world, what you're saying is the world isn't okay. And you have to accept it as beautiful. You have to accept that it is divinely perfect. Even though to our finite minds, as we are in this energy pattern, battling through the inconsistencies, sometimes it seems to us like it's not okay. Hey, wait a minute, I feel pain, I feel discomfort, I feel frustration. Where's the employment? Where's the money? Where's the world peace? But in fact, when you look at it as an overview, if you could leave the planet and go up about 200 or 300 miles and look back at it, you can see that there is a gradual sense of improvement. You can look back to the 60s and see that, for example, the energy today in the 80s and as we move on into the 90s is much more powerful than it was in the 60s. And the 60s were more powerful than the 40s. And the 40s was a whole different era than the turn of the century. And so you can see that man is coming very, very quickly. I mean, almost like a train through the night in his evolution, but it will take time. And as you develop this power, your main function is to express it with this unconditional love to people, not imposing your opinion upon people, but just waiting for them to come along and ask you. If a person comes and asks you for information or for advice, give it to them as fairly and as equitably as you can. But don't go out and seek people to fix. Don't go out into the society and say, I gotta fix this. This is terrible. I gotta fix it. You don't have to fix it. It is what it is, and it's coming up as time goes on.